Again, welcome everyone. My name is Noemi Gaines. I am a lawyer, a wife, a mom, and a social media content creator, and I am very happy to be moderating this discussion with the candidates on the Unity ticket. In the interest of time, we only have about an hour, so we want to give some brief introductions before we get started with the Q&A portion. But I just want to make sure that everyone can hear us. Everyone is signed in and that we're ready to get started. Okay. So in the interest of time, like I said, we only have an hour. So we want to keep our introductions brief, about 2 to 3 minutes. I won't be timing you guys, but we just want to make sure that you and your fellow candidates have an opportunity to just speak a little bit and to let everyone know who you are. We are going to get started with Derek Curtis. Whenever you are ready, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
No. Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Curtis. I am running for Glenarden, City of Glenarden Councilman at Large. I was born and raised in the area, in the DMV area, specifically in Washington, D.C., where I've lived all of my life. And my wife and I have a wife, her name is Karen, and two beautiful children, Carson, who's just turned 6, and Cassidy, who just turned 4. And we were living in Northeast Washington, D.C., and we were looking for a good community to move to. And we did our extensive research of where we wanted to go to be a part of a community where we could, communicate with our neighbors, participate in programs in the city, and just be a part of a home. If you've ever lived in DC, it's really fast paced, and everybody can be doing their own thing. So we did our research and we read up on the history of Glenarden, and came over here and we fell in love. We moved here we started building in 2016, and we moved over here in 2017. And it's been the best decision we've made, and one of the best decisions we've made to be here. Just a little bit more about me. I have a bachelor's in accounting from Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. A master's in accounting and financial management from University of Maryland University College. And after that, I went to the Peace Corps to serve in Togo, West Africa, to do community development and small enterprise development there. And after that stint was over, I came back here and started my career in finance and accounting, where I've worked for prestigious organizations like the National Academy of Sciences, Deloitte, public accounting firm, and Tate & Tryon, which is another accounting firm now known as RSM. And now I'm working for the International Association of Chiefs of Police, where I have an opportunity to shape policy in the policing industry to help police officers better serve their communities. And so I'm a CPA, and with all of my history and background, I saw opportunity to serve the city of Glenarden in the realm of finance, community development, and process improvement. So those are the things that I'm hoping to bring to the city. My platform is 4-point platform, community economic development. I have a small business focus for number 2. Number 3, transparent and accountable government. And 4, health and wellness. And I just appreciate the opportunity to discuss those further in the future. So that is a brief introduction for myself.
Thank you so much, Derek. We're going to move on to the next candidate, Kathleen Guillaume.
Thank you, Noemi. And please, everyone, you'll probably see very conflicting things about my name, but my government name is Kathleen Guillaume, but I go by Kat or Kathy. So if you see all those things, it's still the same person. I'm just divided into 3 people at once, if that makes sense. So a little bit about me. I am a native New Yorker, but I am of Haitian descent. I speak several languages. I speak a total of 4.5. The half meaning I'm still working on the Eritrean and the Ethiopian dialects, but I consider myself very much someone who likes to communicate. Relationships that lead to results is my mantra. And I will say about a little bit personal stuff about me is I am a proud mother of two. My eldest graduated college. He is now in the Air Force. My daughter, who is the apple of my eye, she is 15 years old and she is a freshman in high school. My husband, who is somewhere around these streets, is a New Yorker just like myself. And so we have made Glenarden our home since 2015. A little tidbit is my husband and I, we met at Howard University. So two native Brooklyn, New Yorkers making Maryland their home is something huge for us. In the interest of time, I'd just like to say certain things about myself from the leadership side. I consider myself to be very skilled in 3 buckets. One, I've already mentioned, which is languages. You know, I feel that we all should be able to communicate with one another and no one should feel ostracized for not being able to speak English or just to speak a language of commonality. So being able to communicate with people is something that I really take pride in. Number 2 is my level of expertise in the community development space. I have been featured and I have been featured as a woman on the move by the Women of Color in Community Development. I have also been nominated and appointed by the county executive of Prince George's County to serve on the Prince George's County Affordable Housing Commission. And that was huge because I was responsible to provide affordable housing recommendations to the legislative branch / governor of Maryland on what should be done in Prince George's County. Number 3, as far as community development, I was also nominated and appointed by some members who are on my ticket here and others who actually chose for me to, I apologize for my dog and my bell ringing. I was also nominated and appointed to serve as vice president of the Glenarden Housing Authority, which is a role that I really, really cherish. Lastly, as far as the last bucket is the philanthropic engagement piece. I have raised $60 million to redevelop affordable housing and provide services to low income individuals. I have raised $5.8 million for a national organization whose budget last year was just $3 million in the COVID environment. And on several boards that I chair, I serve as fundraising chair, and I've raised $1.8 million and built major gift platforms for them to get more funding. Why I say all this is because in my last 60 seconds left is I see that there's promise in the city of Glenarden, and my points are stronger infrastructure, fiscal health, senior help and resources, and safer streets. So with my background, I hope to infuse that into the city that I love and call home. Thank you, Noemi.
Thank you so much for that, Kat. We're going to move forward. Oh, actually, as a quick reminder for those of you that are jumping in, we're just asking for everyone to keep their microphones on mute so that we can give everybody the respect that they need to say whatever that they need to say. We are moving forward to the next candidate, and that'll be Miss Angela Ferguson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Angela Ferguson. I have been a city resident for 61 plus years here in Glenarden, a place where I love and am proud to call home. I married a lifelong citizen of the city of Glenarden. I am now widowed, 22 years. I have 2 very fine sons, David and Deborah Ferguson, as a daughter-in-law, 6 beautiful grandchildren. And I am currently working 43 years at the Department of Commerce, NOAA, where I am, I've served there with multiple jobs. Currently, I am a management program analyst serving as a contracting officer representative, where I manage multiple contracts and I monitor personnel and the contracts, several our largest one being a $6.7 million contract. I'm also a trusted agent on the job where I secure paperwork and background investigations for the employment of the contractors. I am seeking re-election at large, and I am currently serving out my first term as a city council member since 2017. I am currently serving the council as the vice president, and I have sponsored and co-sponsored several legislations. One in particular, the first one that I did, which I felt that it was very important, was to reestablish the Glenarden Ethics Commission. And also, I also co-sponsored to reestablish that in the charter. And I sponsored also the appointees to the Ethics Commission, those that are appointed today. And it is important to me that the city of Glenarden have a healthy government, and that they consist of people who are professional and respectful to one another as well, and definitely as well as to the residents, being one that will encourage and engage the citizens and to move forward in oneness together. I would also like to say that I consider myself a servant, not a politician. And I feel like I'm worthy of re-election to the council because I am a hard worker. I am a woman of my word. I am a finisher. I am a team player. Team playing is very important. Unity is very important to me. I'm one who's respectful, responsive, resourceful, reliable, and resilient, and one that works consistently in an effort to bring about positive resolve. I am one that really, not just want to work, but I want to see progress and I want to see it resolved. And lastly, one of the things, the reason why I want to continue on, there are some things that I had vision in this term now that have not been completed. And one particularly was to develop a resource department that would bring forth resources and assistance to our community that would address things such as needs of the seniors, family, children, single families, hardworking families, unemployment, utility and housing assistance, addressing the issues of those that are have addictions and special needs. And so I just want to be able to do that. And this department would connect with both the county, state, and even on a federal level to bring forth information and forms and things. So we can do that in our own city. And that would consist of employees that were diverse and they also could speak multiple languages so that we can reach our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. We're going to move forward to Deborah Eason.
Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody for taking a little bit out of their Saturday to come and listen to us for a few minutes. A little bit of my background. I grew up in the town / city of Glenarden. I actually grew up in the city when it was called a town. And I personally experienced community spirit, community pride, and community leaders who were great role models and cared enough about their community to voluntarily serve to make the community a better place to live for everyone. Some folks may recognize my name because my mom was a councilwoman in the city of Glenarden, and basically that was one of my greatest role models. If anybody had told me that I would be sitting here for my third term currently, after watching my mom, I would have told them, I would bet you that wasn't going to happen. But the thing is, what I found is as a city council member for my third term, I've been on the council for 10 years, FY 29 and 2011, FY 2013, 2017, and FY 2017 to 2021. And what I've done is use my work experiences as a program manager, analyst, professional instructor, and information technology professional to help me make intelligent and well-informed decisions for the city of Glenarden and its citizens. I also incorporated my volunteer experiences as a city of Glenarden, Glenarden Forest HOA board member for 30 years, Ever since I've lived in the city and moved to Glenarden Forest, I've been a board member, 30 years. And then also my volunteer service, I'm an executive board member of the University of Maryland College of Computer, Math, and Natural Sciences, CMNS alumni chapter for 11 years. I also received my Lean Six Sigma Green Belt Certificate in Continuous Improvement. What that does is it helps you learn how to map business processes and define improvement strategies. And then I also, as a council member, I received my certification from the Academy for Excellence in Local Governance Institute for Governmental Service and Research that offers courses to help elected officials become better elected officials. So my philosophy is that basically I always ask myself the question, how does my decision benefit the citizens of Glenarden? When I'm making my decisions, it's not about me, it's about the citizens of the city, their tax dollars that they're spending for services, and making sure that what we're providing citizens, their tax dollars are paying for, and for every citizen, not just a certain area. You know, because one of the things that I've noticed, I grew up in Ward 1, I live in Ward 2 in a HOA, and sometimes I see myself as being treated as a stepchild because the fairness doesn't seem to be there, because now I'm in a HOA community, but I still pay taxes to the city of Glenarden. Oh, so one of the other things that I make sure I adhere to as a council member, as a sworn in elected official, I adhere to the city of Glenarden charter and annotated code of Maryland, because those are the two documents that govern the city. Just like your presidents take that oath of office, all of us council members and mayor, we also take that oath of office to make sure that we're putting other people, other citizens higher than ourselves. So that's what I make sure that I'm doing as myself. So well, my thing is I'm honored to have been able to serve the city for so many years. And I want to, ask that, citizens have entrusted me to make decisions for their best interest. And I want to just ask again that some of you citizens, that if you can vote for Ward 2 and vote for me, I'm also asking that you, vote for me in Ward 2 so I can serve you once again. But also, if you can't vote for me in Ward 2, also vote for my Unity ticket members, because we're all one cohesive group that are going to try to work together for the betterment of the city. One quick note, my education, I have an AA degree in general studies from Prince George's Community College. I have a BS in mathematics from the University of Maryland College Park, and I have a master's degree in computer science from Bowie State University. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to be moving forward to Erika Farid.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Erika Farid, and I am the candidate for a council person for Ward 3. Thank you so much to my ticket mates. As I'm listening to you speak on your experience, I'm reminded of why it makes sense for all of us to be working together, and I'm very enthusiastic about what is in store for the future of Glenarden. So like Kat, I am a native New Yorker. However, I have made Glenarden my home since 2017. I, along with my husband, Taji Farid, moved down to the city of Glenarden in June of 2017, 5 days after our daughter Anaya was born. We came to visit friends that live over in Bulk Hill, my husband's best friend. They're also from New York. And we came down to visit, and we saw this community at Whitmore at Glenarden, and we fell in love immediately, not just for the beautiful homes, because as you know, all throughout Prince George's County, there are developments with beautiful homes. But what distinguished this place for us was the community, right? We saw kids playing in the street. We saw a place that we could raise our child. And so we made the decision to move down to Glenarden really on faith. We signed a contract for a home before we discussed with our companies whether or not we could move to Maryland. We signed a contract on a home before we even sold the home that we were living in. So I really do believe that the decision to move down here was God ordained for us. Since living in the city, I have been actively participating in our community. I have attended council meetings. In fact, my first attendance of a council meeting was in July of 2017, and I brought my newborn daughter to that first meeting. And we continue to be involved in meetings throughout. So we participated in town halls, we participated in conversations, and all of the advocacy against the maglev train that was planned to come through Glenarden. I am also an active member of the community by being a co-lead for the Mothers of Wilmore Town Center, where we do lots of events for children. That is one of my passions, community. Outside of the community aspect and where I bring service in that regard, I am a professional. I work as a certified public accountant, and I work for Pfizer in the Global Business Services Group. I am the Global Business Process and Reporting Lead. And in that role, I've had the opportunity to work with many different people from many different countries. So one of my skill sets is being able to work across cultural boundaries and work with people with different opinions. Another piece of my skill set is around standardizing processes, which is not easy when you're looking at processes across the globe and dealing with many different people. You have to learn how to collaborate and bring people to the table so that everyone has a common goal in mind, so that everyone is working towards that. And that's not something that's easy to do. I've been successful at it thus far in my career, and I plan to bring that to the table here at Glenarden. From an educational perspective, I do have a bachelor's in finance with a minor in accounting, and I also hold a master's degree in accounting. From a platform perspective, in addition to community, I am focused on economic growth. We have a lot of small business owners in the city of Glenarden, and we need to do what we can to connect them with the resources that are available at a county, state, and federal level to make sure that their businesses are supported. I'm also focused on health and wellness. The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that the Black and Brown communities are disproportionately affected because of our comorbidities and predispositions to other diseases. So I want to work with the city and with the county, because the county has lots of programs to help with this, to make sure that we're improving the health of our citizens. And lastly is the partnership, making sure that we're not just developing relationships across the city, but with other cities, other municipalities in our county, other counties, and other states even, if necessary, as long as that's going to bring what we need to the city of Glenarden. So I thank you for the opportunity to run, and I hope I can receive your vote on May 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will be finalizing the round of introductions with Cashenna Cross.
Hello, and thank you so much to all of the citizens that have come in. You see, I'm in my car. So I have already been on the streets meeting more wonderful Glenardeners. I want you to know that I am so honored to have the opportunity to be on the candidacy list for mayor for the city of Glenarden. Listen, you're just heard from a candidate list of superior performers. And I want you to know, as a wife and a mother of two, that I stand behind economic development. I stand behind opportunities for infrastructure. I stand behind opportunities for growth in the educational realm. I hail from Aberdeen, Mississippi. Now, Aberdeen, Mississippi is very much so like the city of Glenarden, where everybody knows your name. It's the community that I hoped my children would grow up in, and God has given us the opportunity to reside in the great city of Glenarden. When I found that Glenarden founded in 1911 with 2 parcels of land, has grown to the majesty that you see today. I tell you, in 1939, when then Mayor Swan incorporated the state with the great city and the what's then municipality, but the great city of Glenarden, they didn't know what hit them. They hit them with a very progressive city. And we are looking at doing more of the same. I stand for accountability and transparency in government. I also stand for the fostering of collective impact. What we have is a citizenry of superior performers, and out there are servants with a servant heart. I stand as a beacon of positivity in such a time to promise and foster collective impact, good governance across the wards. We have stood too long and waited for those progressive opportunities. Citizens, we're reaching out and we're grabbing them and we're bringing them home to you. As we look at opportunities to exemplify excellence, you should know that I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I am now 23 years in a service organization whose heart and purpose is to service to mankind, all mankind. I am also representative of all the demographics that have now entered the city of Glenarden, that they are represented. And I see you, I see you out there, my soror. I am representative to all of the cultures that have now made Glenarden such a rich fabric, a tapestry of value that we need to bring forward various councils, very auxiliaries to have the representation of the voice of our Hispanic sisters and brothers, the voice of our French-speaking sisters and brothers, the voice of our islanders. We are no longer just English speakers, but we are one. So you now have my platform, one community, one city. We are moving the mission forward. I stand also for bringing forward the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Commission, I am your vice chairman. I sat as the vice chairman. What I want you to understand is 20 years of the United States Air Force has taught me a little bit about service and commitment that just can't be dispelled. I have an ability to not only bring forward change, but the training, they call it $1 million education. That's why you find me here in DC. But the training to not only bring forward progressiveness, but to build teams where there's diversity. I have the opportunity to bring forward to you the training that I've had in all source intelligence, the training of being a program manager, the training of serving in these United States with being in North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Oh, it doesn't get any more complicated than 27 NATO nations with all the same agenda, which is their own. I thank you, dear Lord, for the opportunity. I pray every day to sit on this ticket with such rich heritage as you've just heard. I want you to know that each one of us has your safety in mind. As we look at building walking safe cities, we are looking at also the canopy. As I recognize my 2 children would like to ride a bike in peace. I recognize, as I've met now over 300 citizens by foot, and more to go, that everyone has the same vision, a progressive Glenarden, and we are ready to bring that vision to fruition. I want you to know that I uphold the wisdoms of the charter of the city of Glenarden, and I do it every day as the vice chairman of the Ethics Commission. To all of those that now currently are incumbents, I again echo my entire appreciation for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. As we're looking at the guiding ordinances and resolutions, as the chief executive officer of the city of Glenarden, then you can count on me to uphold those resolutions and those ordinances. You can also count on me to pay attention to the citizen's voice. Thereby, the very first thing we will do is seek citizen engagement, because if we're not starting from you, then we are starting from us. And it is not about us, but we serve you, not to be served. I thank you, citizens, for allowing us to have this moment to speak to you. I guarantee you 24-hour response. That's why you see me already on the streets. I have my jogging suit on because I've been beating the streets. I think that meeting you is the most important thing, so I will stand firm to shake your hand. I thank you that threefold cord, Wards 1, Wards 2, Wards 3 will stand strong in the new generation, that we will pass it to our children's children's children, that they shall never not hear of the heritage of such a rich city. We stand between two state capitals, one at the national level and one at the state level. Oh, come on, somebody give me a shout, because we are ready to move this mission forward. They shall not forget to say Glenarden ever again. We shall bring back respect to the name. We shall also bring back courage and integrity to the offices. We shall put the needs of our people first, and we shall not be held last again. Ladies and gentlemen, my citizens to be, I pray that you hear me and you hear my heart for service. There is no more service than I have to give to you that I have given to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I am so happy to have this opportunity to speak to you. I want you to know that we stand courageous and unafraid. We have a heart for service. We will fight for you. I am your representative at the local, the state, and if the national level, if it may be. Joe Biden might have my number on speed dial because I care so much about the city of Glenarden. My children will call this city home for generations to come. I live in Ward 3, but I represent Glenarden. Let it be known that we serve you. Let it be known we are not lords, but servants. And then we will start from you. I am so grateful for this opportunity. Transparency, accountability, addressing even affordable housing. As we know that we have gotten economic relief plans, we shall not return a single dollar. Every bit of it has a purpose. We will give rhyme and reason to leadership, and we will give rhyme and reason to policy, and we will make sure that they represent you, citizens. So I'll be calling on you. So make sure that you let me know how you feel. I thank you so much, moderator. I love your genuine smile. I thank you to all of those that are on this panel. And I want to hand the mic back over to you because, as I told you, I'm from Mississippi. I might talk too long. I tell you one thing for sure. My goals are to ensure that we have educational benefits, that we build economic development, that we take care of health care for senior citizens who call the caller bus and have to wait 7 days. We will build community programs to support them. I will tell you one thing for sure, that we will uphold the wisdoms of this charter and that we will execute this mission with excellence.
Thank you so much for that exciting and exhilarating introduction. Thank you all the candidates. And I think we are just about ready to get into some questions as we compile those things up. I know a few of you have already spoken about what inspired you to run, but for those of you who would like to speak a little bit further about that, what is that inspiration? Why are you here? Please go ahead.
Yes, I may have missed that question, but this is Deborah Eason again. The reason that I'm inspired to run is because, once again, growing up in the city, I know that there's a lot of things that were done growing up, and a lot of role models and community leaders. They were doing a lot of volunteer activities to grow, to make the city better, because there was a lot of things that we did not have growing up, but they made sure we had them. One of the things that I've seen, even during my mom's term on the council or after she passed away, I saw a lot of other municipalities and towns move forward. But for some reason, the city of Glenarden has not moved forward as quickly as some of those other communities, some of those surrounding communities. Because even when I look at things, for example, one thing we're looking at, electric cars. A lot of the municipalities had electric cars 5 years ago. We should have had some by now. The website, the city website that I'm currently working on with the new company and citizens that have volunteered. I actually volunteered and built the city's website 20 years ago as a volunteer service. And even when I volunteered during that time, I made recommendations to the mayor at that time to get a webmaster and make sure the city had a web presence. This is 20 years ago. And, you know, to find myself 20 years later volunteering again to go through the same effort, you know, I'm graced that I have the skill set, but I'm also happy that I don't have to do the HTML programming this time around. But my main goal is that one of the things I did as council president, I had a strategic visioning session where each council member identified what goals they wanted to do for the city as long as the mayor. And I facilitated the session. This was something I learned from work. We sat down, I put all the stickies on the wall, and then all of the council members as a group, we actually discussed each one of those goals, and then we identified which one of those were our priorities so that we could actually focus on those goals and get them accomplished. That first year, we had 13 goals. We completed 10 of them.
Yes, we do.
And 7 people to agree on goals and complete 10 of those goals in 1 year is quite an accomplishment. So my main thing is to see, see what other, see where we lag behind as far as other towns, municipalities, and actually bring us back to the level where we should be. Because that's the main thing that I've seen in my time living within the town/city. We moved so ahead of time, but we just keep moving back and just taking baby steps. So I'll stop now. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Does anybody else? Okay, yes. Go ahead, Ms. Angela.
Okay, for me, as Councilwoman Eason said, is to move us forward. Like I said, this is my first term as a city council member. I am part of the Civic Association as well, but when I first came to the city, was actually in the building, I was a little appalled at the only way I can say it is I thought I walked into 1966 because it was so behind. And so, as Ms. Eason said, so many things were accomplished in this 4 years. Like, I spoke to the city manager about phones not being transferred. I mean, they just had phones, you're yelling down the hallway. So we've done a lot of things in that area to have new phone systems and electronic, the employees have electronic time cards. And so we're a city on the move, but it seems like we're not moving. And I offered a lot of things, and as Ms. Eason said, we have visions, and we did those. And as I spoke earlier about one of my visions, which was a long term, was the thing about the resource department that we can help our citizens, and that we didn't get to that. So I want to be able to see that manifest within the next 4 years. And then what is heartening for me is the fact that I've seen where the original spirit of Glenarden, I don't want that lost. And in certain areas, it seems like, like I said, I've 61 years here in Glenarden, and some of the spirit of Glenarden is not what we are used to, and it's not what we are. I want to bring forth unity. It's not the whole Glenarden. The Glenarden is not them and they, it's we and us. And so, and then being transparent and actually involving the citizens of Glenarden with the lawmaking and letting them know, being transparent. It's not about we as legislators are doing this and then you find out later. So I want the involvement. I'm really into the health and welfare of the city, and I love my children and I love my seniors. And so the welfare of that. So again, to bring forth the city, the heartbeat and the texture of our sensitivity and love for each other. We are a family, we are community, we are one, and that is more important. And I just want to say again, everyone on the ticket, I just can connect with them because in their own way, they, we all want the same thing, unity, healthy living, safe living, and oneness.
Thank you so much, guys. Oh, I'm sorry, we're getting some feedback. Just to remind everyone, if we could make sure we are on mute so that we can hear all of the candidates. Kat, you can go ahead.
Sure, and I'll try to keep it brief. And thank you for that question to whoever posed it. I will say this, that what drew me to run is, number one, of course, my overall passion for the community that I live in. I genuinely love Glenarden. But I have to say a little bit about myself also. Is my background as a community development social activist. I believe in the heart of Black communities. I believe in the heart of Black people, and I believe ultimately in Black excellence. And so for me, one of the reasons, and I have to say the main reason, unfortunately, why I chose to run, because I literally had no intentions of running at all, but I'm a person of faith. And Isaiah 117 tells me to do good, seek justice, and correct oppression. So for me, as someone who actively goes to city council meetings and other things around the city, what I saw was disheartening, because I saw the beauty of Glenarden externally, but internally at some of the meetings, I saw such a sense of division that was so disheartening, and didn't speak to the experiences that I had outside of the broad community. So for me, seeing that there was a lack of common decency and respect for citizens and each other was something that I could not wrap my head around. And seeing how, unfortunately, when there were times for us to talk about the budget, or for us to talk about youth programs, or for us to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic, or for us to talk about certain monies that Prince George's County can infuse into Glenarden, we were bickering about personal things. And when I say we, I want to be specific and say the legislative body were bickering with one another. So for me, I either saw it as this, God was talking through me, and I remember hearing to myself, are you going to be the person that keeps talking about the problem, or are you going to be the person who's going to be part of the solution? So for me, I tend to hate complaints. I want to be part of the solution. So this is why I chose to just put my hat in the ring and just say, you know what? I'm going to have to do what I have to do, just for the love of the city that I have grown to love. So that's it for me.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time, I'm sorry, Erika Freed, you can go ahead and answer this question. And in the interest of time, we want to move on after this to a couple of the other questions that the citizens have proposed.
You know what? Go ahead. Their questions are important. People can go to my website to learn more about why I'm running.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure to give everyone a chance at the end so that you have information on how you can find more information on all of the candidates. Mm-hmm. So moving forward, this is a great question. So what small wins do you guys think you can accomplish within the first 90 days? Anyone who wants to answer, go ahead and raise your hand and we can go ahead. Okay, Erika, let's go with you.
So I think before we can really get into the details of moving the city forward, we really have to look at kind of what's supporting us. I think we need to take a holistic view at our processes and procedures to see where we can tighten those up and get those streamlined and more efficient, because that blueprint is what's going to help us be able to operate more efficiently and effectively going forward. So that is something that I plan for us to look at very closely as soon as possible, and aligning our vision. So with Mayor Cross and with the rest of the council members, really laying out what we want to do for the city, setting those goals, and then putting pen to paper on how we're going to achieve those goals. Because most importantly, for us as elected officials is the accountability to the citizens. So we need to be able to be transparent about what we're doing, why certain decisions we're making are relevant to the goals that we originally set, and just kind of keep everyone aligned so that we're not in council meetings unfocused, right? That we know exactly what we're trying to accomplish, that we're soliciting feedback from the citizens, and we need a mechanism to do that. And that's, part of the infrastructure, so to speak, of how we're organized that needs to be looked at first, in my opinion.
I think, I'm sorry, Erika, are you done?
Yes.
No, I think also on day one, with this uni ticket, you actually have unity. That's something that's been missing from the city council for quite some time. The reason why I am confident in Miss Ferguson, Miss Eason, and Miss Robin, who unfortunately had a family emergency and couldn't be here, is I've seen their faces in these council meetings. If you go to these council meetings, when you log on, you see them because they want to engage with the community. The other council members, I could not pick them out of a lineup, and just asking questions, I couldn't get questions answered. And as all of our current council members are at large, I saw that only a few of our council members really want to reach out to the residents, and the others, you know, they didn't really care about me. And so I've always taken life, looked at life as, what can I offer, not what can I take. And so I think that's what we all are here for in the Unity ticket, that day one, first minute, first second, you'll have unity. We may not all agree on an idea that someone has, but you can rest assured that we will always treat each other with respect, and we'll communicate, and we'll talk, and we'll listen to divergent ideas to see, oh, maybe my idea wasn't great, maybe Miss Eason's was great, or maybe Kat was great, and we can go with that. That is what we can have day one, minute one, second one. And also just being visible and getting out more, to, like I said, engage with the community, knocking on doors, seeing what our residents want to see in the community, reaching out. We have a huge Hispanic portion of the community, and I haven't seen them engage. So how do we get them engaged and become more inclusive as a community? So that is respect, dignity, professionalism, and just a wealth of knowledge and experience day one.
I would like to add, if that's okay, that piggybacking off of where Derek left off, and almost similar to Cash, I feel like, well, excuse me, it's the future Mayor Cross. I feel like Derek and I and my other running mates can be in sweatsuits too, because we've been hitting the pavement. And as an Afro-Latina, Afro-Caribbean, we desperately need to have the voice of other parties at the table. I would like to say that one of the things that we have been able to do, and I'm only saying about Derek because we've done it this week, he was been my running mate this week as far as hitting the streets, is as far as the 90 days are concerned, when we've been going and knocking on doors or just walking down the streets, the first thing we say after introducing ourselves is, what would you like to have done for you? What are your interests? And I think that's key, because oftentimes when politicians or people who are running for office come into a position where they win, sometimes they go into it for egotistical reasons. What I can say is, for the Unity ticket, we are very much God-centered and people first. So I would like to add, in addition to all the qualified things that Erika's mentioned and Derek mentioned and others have mentioned already in response to that question, we want to make sure that the residents' priorities are expressed and addressed in a meaningful way, where they know that they are seen, they are valued, they are felt, and they are heard.
Thank you so much, Kat. I would like to move on to the next question. We're about 8 minutes out from the end of the conversation. So please keep that in mind when answering your questions. We just have a couple more to go. This next one is focused on transit and housing, and specifically with the focus on transit equity and lowering the cost of housing. What vision do you guys have for transit and housing in Glenarden?
I'd like to just, sorry, because that's my background, so I don't want to monopolize the conversation. I will also provide my email address should anyone want to ask me these questions, because I want to respect the time given. So there is a need for transit-oriented development in this particular region. What I will say, and this is just because I have some connections in the Prince George's County Executive Office, we need to make sure that Glenarden and certain regions of Glenarden is seen as a priority for investing in that type of transit development. So for me, I do feel like there needs to be more buses. There needs to be certain things that take place as far as housing next to certain train stations. But of course, we don't have a train station next to where we are currently. But again, The main thing, and I actually had this question asked to some Prince George's County folks, is we need to be seen as a priority investment area. And right now we are not. And that kind of goes with what Ms. Eason had somewhat mentioned earlier on, and Ms. Ferguson.
And I'll just jump in a little bit on that, on the transportation piece. I think it's critically important that we look for ways that those who don't have access to cars, have access to that public transit that they need. I spoke with a senior a few weeks ago who wasn't able to get to an appointment, a last minute appointment for a vaccine, because she didn't have access to transportation quickly enough to be able to get there. And that's a serious challenge for many. And we need to tap into those who are in our community who can help with that. And we need to work with our county officials who can help with those types of things as well, which is where the partnership really comes in. I don't want to put them on the spot, but someone who's on this call today, Anthony Foster, works with the county on transportation, and he gave an excellent update the other day at the county meeting on what the county is doing to improve access to transportation, including reducing the wait times and just going out into areas that aren't being touched. And that's what we need to do. We need to be making sure that Glenarden is at the table when those types of conversations are being had, so that we can make sure we're advocating for our citizens.
All right, let me jump in here. This is Cashenna Cross. So I have been reading the Prince George's 2035 plan. The one thing about the Prince George's 35 plan is it has a consideration for the blue line and the purple line expansion. Now, what they are considering is the number of transients that will be coming in, young executives, and Glenarden is a hotbed for young executives, but young executives also transient. So we're looking at these 30-day lodging and housing requirements. One of the problems that's noted in 2035 is a lot of the single family homes have taken up a large mass piece of the land. So you note that we've gotten the regional medical center is up, it's absolutely gorgeous. We have gotten the children's hospital is up, it's absolutely gorgeous. So we need to build more transient type housing, because unlike I guess a lot of the single family homes that you see now being built, we need to make sure that we build for the future, those that will be coming in and going out and using Glenarden for the purposes of going up to Baltimore, coming to Washington, D.C. Because if I look at where the revenue is coming, it's coming from folks that actually are coming in to the city from outside of the city, and folks inside of the city are actually working outside of the city. So I am very passionate about building the transportation and building up those types of temporary lodgings to afford more revenue to come into the city of Glenarden, because they will live here and they will play here. So we need to make sure that we have the Woodmore Town Center at Glenarden. We have the community center there with, the Wegmans, and we have Home Goods that are coming, but we need to make sure that the infrastructure matches what we're building. And that's one thing I'll say about developments. When you talk about your annexation of land and territory. When we have builders that come into the city of Glenarden, they have one client, that's the county. They to negotiate with the county, and then the taxes are lowered so the builder can pay. When the builder transition it back to the citizens, then you find yourself with an increased tax bill, because your taxes are then accounted for you individually against the state. So many of the residents, even in Ward 3, found themselves homeless because they were out taxed. So as we're looking at transient housing, I will tell you, I'm also going to consider affordable housing to make sure that when we have builders that come in and do these things, that they don't produce annexation that then leverage that cost back to the citizens. That's called responsible government. As we're looking at the planning boards of Prince George's County, no longer do we show up and all we're doing is approving how pretty it is. I guarantee you that your leadership is going to be at the table from this point forward. Prince George's Forward, which came out February 2021, and Prince George's 2035, which came out in 2012. We have a mission to get going on. We have literally 14 years to right size absent attendance at a lot of the meetings that are shaping the very fabric of Glenarden. We will be at the table going forward. And I chose to run. I wanted to chime in. I raised my hand, but I chose to run because it is a divine appointment. We met friends here that have given us the courage and the energy to note that the city that they love is the city that we desire. We met the marker and we're going to rise to the occasion and bring Glenarden forward. Glenarden has a rich heritage and it needs to be put back on the scene.
Thank you so much, and what a way to end. We are actually at our time. For those of you that have submitted questions, thank you so much. For those of you who we haven't gotten to your questions, if you go into the chat, there is an email address where you can contact the Unity Ticket directly. It's unityforglenarden@gmail.com. Again, that is in the chat box. Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your Saturday on this beautiful day, actually outside. And again, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact the candidates on the Unity Ticket directly.
Let me give one more. So just to make sure, you will get absentee ballots coming in your mail this week. The absentee ballots have a secrecy envelope. You must sign it. You must sign it or it will be discounted. So that is a critical point. If you choose absentee voting, make sure that when you've made your selection, you sign it and put that secrecy envelope back in the mail in the regular message. I believe it's going to cost you a stamp, but it's worth it for a brighter Glenarden. Thank you so much, citizens. unityforglenarden.com.
One more point is that if you do not want to mail it, you also can drop it off at the drop box at the Municipal Center. So you don't have to put it in the mail. You can if you want to. You could fill it out and drop it off at the Municipal Center, or you could vote in person on May 3rd. So we encourage everybody to get out and vote. May 3rd, we hope that you will vote for us. We hope that we can earn your vote. And like Naomi said, send us your questions, concerns, anything, and we'll be sure to address those. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.